It is her job to soak up all of your issues. When you're intimate with your wife, it's her job to soak up those issues. She's too much of a physical and emotional presence to lead you spiritually. It is not her job to lead you spiritually. It is her job to be the physical and emotional sponge that needs to be in the household. That's why you can't expect that from her if you send her out to work every day.
Tell us the truth.
If you send your wife out to work every day, you don't have a wife. You have a co-partner. You have a co-worker. That's what you have. She's going out to work for someone. You're going out to work for someone, and you're coming home and you're pooling everything together. And so you're partners. You got to be in a position to pay the cost to be the boss. That's the way it's supposed to be. All Eve had to do was what Adam told her to do. She messed up when she went against that. Her uncontrollable emotions will do whatever they need to do. They will direct her and guide her in a time of great peace or turmoil. Her feelings guide her. No matter what the situation is, her emotional response will take precedence over any other response. You can't afford to have that as your leadership. You got to be the final decision maker. And so you can make the final decision based on what God would want you to do. We're talking life and death here. We're talking, wealth and health here. We're talking everything positive that you want to happen in life. We're talking about that versus the negative aspect of that. You have to be the spiritual guide in your household. There's no other way that you're going to be connected with God nor your household, because God will not come and exist in evil. So if your wife is evil in your household, God will abandon you. If your children are evil in your household, then God will abandon you, because he's not coming around filth. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Life is what you make it, but there's so many things that can break it. You know what I mean? You have to be, your spiritual astuteness has to guide everyone in your household. Because you got to understand this. A leader is going to take you to the place that they believe in, that works in their life. So if she leads you, she's going to take you to a place of emotionality. As a man, you can't afford to function in that space. You just can't afford to be in an emotional space. For one thing, you don't have the experience in emotionality. You don't have the patience of emotionality. There are certain emotions that women master that you don't even feel unless you're led there and you're taught that. And you become less of a man. The more emotional you become, the less logical you become. So the less logical you become, the less spiritually astute you are. Spiritual astuteness is about logic. It's about saying, okay, God doesn't want me to do this, and not having some feeling that says, but they need me, but they want me, but they want whatever. You think about a man who commits adultery with another man's wife. You commit adultery with that man's wife because of your emotions. Your emotions are telling you, well, she's lonely. Your emotions are telling you, she's dissatisfied. I should have compassion for her situation. I should look out for her. It's not my fault. It's his fault. I ain't got nothing to do with him not taking care of his woman. The foundation of all that is emotionality. Sometimes it's your own loneliness. There's no spiritually astute lonely man. You can't be alone when you realize God is with you all the time. Loneliness for a man comes from when you put everything you have into people and then they abandon you, and then you don't have God with you because you chose people over God, so he's not there with you either. That's where loneliness comes from. Loneliness is not a thing that happens in a man's life when you're spiritually astute and connected with God the way you're supposed to be. It just doesn't. Loneliness is a female thing. And then you have some women who say that, God is a woman. Women are the creators of life. You didn't create the first life or the second life. When you became the creators of life, the first human being that was ever manifested from another human was a woman that was manifested from a man. The first human being. And every subsequent human being after that was manifested from that man. Cain and Abel were manifested from Adam, incubated and internally nurtured within Eve until they were old enough to come back out and then reconnect with their dad and be nurtured and carried on from there. This is what we're talking about. So she is not in a position to lead you spiritually. She is not in a position to do anything. If she's not taught by you and led by you to understand what her relationship with God should be, she can't even pray for you. It's so important that you understand that her connection with God must mirror yours. It must mirror yours. And if it doesn't, then she's an idolater. She's worshiping an idol God. We like to say, well, they're all gods. It's all the same God. We just call them different names. No, there are certain ways you live according to the God of Israel. Certain things you do. Certain things you honor. Certain blessings that are guaranteed to come your way if you live righteously. Think about this. Think about the logic. I want everyone, when we're done with the show, when you have some time tonight, I want you to read Deuteronomy 28. The whole 28th chapter of Deuteronomy, I want you to read it. It's long. It's got I think 6 to 8 books in it. Just go ahead and read it. 6 to 8 verses, rather. Read it. It's long, but it's got a lot of gems in it. And I want you to look at all the blessings that are guaranteed if you live a life that's pleasing to God. You live this life that's pleasing to God, you get this blessing and that blessing and this blessing and that blessing, and everything you touch and everything you do and everything you say and everything you speak and everything you dream is blessed. That's logical, right? This is God. He's going to reward you like this for being honorable, for being spiritually astute, for honoring his word, right? Now, you go and look at what the Christian church teaches people. It tells them that no matter how righteous you live, you may be persecuted. You may be punished. You may be ostracized. You may be hurt. They may do bad things to you. You may have to suffer and struggle. How logical is it that you are serving an all-powerful, almighty God, and his reward for you living a life that's pleasing to him is that you'll be punished, is that you'll be persecuted, is that you'll be ostracized? How logical is that? It's not logical at all. And that is why the majority of the church is filled with women. 90% of it. And I'm talking about that 90%, the 10% that's left includes the pastors and deacons and the associate pastors and all of that, the choir directors and all of that. So when you think about it, outside of those positions, there's probably 5%, 4 or 5% of the church that's men. Why? Because there is no logic there. That doesn't represent spiritual astuteness. That represents a suffering mindset where I'm going to suffer, but if I'm going to suffer for Jesus. I ain't going to suffer for no man. I'll go in here and suffer in the church. That's what that sounds like. It doesn't make sense. And I'm telling you, you will be incapable of prioritizing your spirit over your feelings if you allow your woman to lead you spiritually. See, this isn't about your woman being bad. This is about her not being equipped, her not being designed by God to be this leader for you. She's not designed for it. And a lot of times, you have to weed out the women who regret being feminine. You have to weed her out because if she regrets being feminine, she can't be your wife. She won't follow you. She won't listen to you. You can't lead her. She won't respond to your leadership. She won't. She'll go the opposite direction just because she doesn't want to be told what to do. The most humble, the best woman you can ever find in life is a woman who embraces being told what to do. Not because she's immature, not because she's a slave, not because of any of that, because she's humble enough to accept and respect the fact that she don't know what she's doing without your guidance. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you being all powerful anything. It has something to do with her looking within herself and accepting the fact that she doesn't know the way to God if you don't guide her there. When she looks at her life and she sees the thing that she's done that have harmed her, and you teach her that you can't recall ever doing those things, at least within the past, or whatever, maybe in life, because the word says don't do it. If a woman can't respect your knowledge of the word and the fact that she sees you applying it to your life, then she cannot be led spiritually. It's not your job to bash her over the head with the word. That's not your job. She's supposed to be ready and willing to just get into a position to follow your spiritual leadership. And if she's not, she must be dropped because it's a waste of your time. You are on a mission, moving in the direction that God wants you to move in. You can't afford to stop and have to train up somebody to even be a follower. If I got to teach you how to follow, I'm not the one. I'm not the one. That's not my goal. That's not my job. That's not my responsibility. It's just not. Also, I want y'all to understand this. It takes a certain resilience to be a leader. It takes a certain ability to be able to ignore certain things, to ignore people's pain, to ignore people's distractions, to ignore people's complaints, to ignore people talking about how they need you, and then you fall off your mission with the Most High. You got to be equipped to ignore that. And women aren't equipped to ignore that. To some extent, different women are equipped to be a little bit stronger than others, but through and through, at some point, every woman has a breaking point where she's going to stop focusing on spirituality and then go be nurturing. But you want that. You want a woman who's nurturing. Like you want the most nurturing woman ever. So that way, all the nurturing that's required in her position, she takes care of it. You got to have that because you need nurturing. The children need nurturing. The family needs nurturing. The environment needs nurturing. Man, you need that. You got to have that soft feminine spirit in there, and it takes a hardness to be spiritually astute because you got to be willing to stand the line even in the face of maybe somebody else being affected negatively. If me honoring and worshiping God affects you negatively, well, I guess you're just going to be affected negatively. I'm not even considering how me worshiping God affects you at all. If it affects you positively, fine. If it affects you negatively, fine. I'm not doing it for how it affects you. I'm doing it for how it affects me. And that takes priority over everything. Takes priority over everything. And so you just got to understand when it really boiled down, she really don't want to lead you. She don't want to lead you. Sometimes a woman just wants the freedom of not following you. She just don't want to be tied into following you. Now that don't mean that she want to lead you. That means she just want to do whatever she want to do. And in your household, you're not going to allow that. There are rules. There are rules. You understand me? There are rules. Certain if you're eater of abominable foods, you can't even come in. You can't even come in. Now you come in a work capacity, and I can't. If I get somebody in here, man, doing some work, I ain't gonna be like, hey, look, hold on, what you eat? I don't care about none of that. But I'm talking about coming in to be around me, to spend time with me. You can't. No, no, no. That's not gonna happen. If you eat pork, can't eat out my dishes. You got belly full of shrimp, crab legs. Can't use my bathroom. Can't do it. So little small things like that. And there's a list of rules that I have, and I keep them posted because these are the rules I follow, and these are the rules that everyone else is gonna follow.